Hey y'all, so today I want to share with you my plans for 2024 for my spring garden, and I'm here in what I call the cage. It's basically a kennel, and so just join me so I can share with you my plans for this upcoming season. Right now I am in our kennel, which I use as a garden space. It didn't work out as a kennel, so it was perfect for a gardening space. As you see, we have walls in this kennel, and it was perfect as a makeshift trellis where I didn't have to go out to the store and buy more supplies to create my own trellis. We simply used the walls. So here in this exact spot, we grew cucumbers, and of course they used the walls in order to climb up, use the vines to climb up. We grew enough cucumbers, y'all, that we gave to over 12 families. So I don't care how big your garden is, I always have in mind that I'm going to give away a percentage of this garden to help those in my community, because you know it's always good to give back, right? And so we also grew honeydew melons, and that was perfect because of course the vines, it grew up, the trellis didn't have any problems with that. The only thing that I had a problem with were my watermelons, and the watermelons, I think, well, I know for a fact that they didn't last as long as they should have because of the spot didn't have good drainage. And because it didn't have good drainage, the plant basically sat in water. And I don't care how light it rained, it would just collect. And so that was my bad for not basically paying attention to where I planted certain things. So of course, as you grow and you learn more, then you do better, right? So let's go head over to my raised garden bed so that we can look and see what I planted over there. So I didn't get a chance to record this as I was doing it, but here is my raised bed garden. In it I have cabbage, broccoli, collard greens, cauliflower, Swiss chard, beets, kale, white onion, and spinach. And so that is the garden for the spring. And here I have all carrots in the back row for the square foot gardening. As you see behind me, I have one raised bed garden here, and I have another one here, located here. And on this one, I had all the vegetables that I already named. And in this one here, I have my bunch of onions that are still growing. So I'm about to show you where the bunch of onions are. And I'm very proud of that because it's my first year actually growing onions and them surviving. So this is where I grew my strawberries. We did have a small harvest of strawberries, but we didn't have what we could have had I known some information prior to. And so now that I understand how much fertilizer they need and the amount of sunlight that they need, then I will be doing better by my strawberries. We have a shed next to it, so of course as the day gets longer, so does the shadow, and so it produces more shade than the strawberries actually need. So I didn't get the harvest that I wanted. So this upcoming season is going to be better. Okay, so I showed you what was going on outside, and so now I'm back inside, and I want to share with you my stackable planters. Yeah, I finally got them. Like, I found them in Dollar Tree, and I see them every year, but I never get a chance to buy any because they are sold out so quickly. And so since I've been kind of under the weather lately, my husband, love him so much, he went by Dollar Tree and he got 10 for me. And so these are what I'm going to use to plant my strawberries in. And so what I'm going to do, I've already poked holes out. So I poked holes, like at least one hole in each different section. So they are 3-tiered. So I already poked holes in all 10. I poked only 1 or 2 holes in each one because I was watching a YouTube video and someone else was saying how he planted strawberries, and because of how hot the sun is and they needed mostly sunlight, that it would dry the water up quickly within the pot. So it was basically good to just poke 1 or 2 holes in not all 3 so that the water wouldn't drain as fast. And so I thought that was smart. So I was like, you know what? He seems to know what he's doing. So I'm going to follow his lead. So 1 stack, 5 will be used for strawberries, and the other 5 I'm going to use for some herbs. So this year I'm going to get into growing herbs. I have not grown any before. I tried mint and I failed horribly. When I say horribly, I mean, it's like I didn't even put any seeds in the dirt. It's like, that's basically what gardening is. You get a seed, you put it in the dirt, you cover the dirt, you water it, boom, a plant should come. And people were saying that, you know, mint is supposed to be like the easiest thing to grow. I even went outside and scattered it around in my other garden because I was like, you know, I heard that it would take over. It still didn't work. So I don't know, maybe I had a black thumb that day, I don't know. And so remember I told you all about the strawberries that I dug up. So I placed them in cups, and if you notice, I'm getting new leaves. So you see the new green foliage right here. That's brand new, so that was not there. And even I'm getting little baby strawberries. You see, it's a flower. I don't know if you can see that, but it's a flower in here. And it is, basically it has like a little fruit that's growing in there. So I have 4 cups and 1 big pot. And if you see that bright green, those are new leaves that have came since I have repotted the strawberries. This is only temporary. And it's temporary because, again, I want to put them in planters and I want to put them outside. So where I was in the kennel, I want to use that kennel and use some of the PVC pipe that we have, drill a hole here in the center of my stackable planters, drill a hole and place them on the PVC pipe so they can provide stability, because we have cats, we have dogs, and I don't want them to knock into it, and all the work that I put into my plants, it will be null and void. So I want to be smart with it because this is an investment, right? Okay, so now I want to share a few of the actual herbs that I plan to grow. I'm a little shaky about it because I didn't, like I said, mint didn't do well for me. So I don't want to fail again, right? Especially when, like, what if this was like necessary for my family to survive? Like, right? Like, we needed this food and here I am, I'm messing up again. I just don't want that burden on me, even though it's just an herb. But I feel that in my head, like, I have to learn how to do this because we may have to depend on this one day. So in no special order, first cilantro. I have cilantro because this year was my first year in making my own salsa, and of course you need a fresh cilantro. And so I learned that in making salsa, don't put in too much cilantro because it can overpower the taste. And so I would love to have fresh cilantro, not only for salads, for salsa, but for other things, you know, that is good for. But I know for a fact that it will be used for salsa, making salsa in my house. We did grow a lot of pepperoni peppers. We grew jalapeno peppers this year as well, and they did wonderful. So peppers are, I can grow those just like that. Peppers, cucumbers, honeydew melons, I have no problem. But it's only the mint didn't even want to grow, y'all, and chives. So this will be my first year growing chives. I hope it turns out very well, and I know, you know, they're very popular when you're, you know, baking your baked potato. You want a little chives on the top. Remember, I do have my bunching onions outside, so hopefully once I fertilize them, that they will grow bigger and we can use those because their leaves are growing up so nice. And I was like, okay, I know this is not a piece of grass, and so I'm thankful that I chose to put those tags there, and I know that they were bunching onions, so I'm excited. So I had to clean that up again. Last but not least are basil leaves. I choose basil. Number one, I put them in my red beans and rice. I use basil leaves, dry basil leaves for my red beans and rice. But also I found out that basil leaves are good to kill any eggs that may be in your packaging of your food. So for me and my family, we use food grade buckets to store our food. So just a little nugget to drop to you guys. if you have a local department store, a bakery store, anywhere around, like if they make cakes and, you know, they don't throw away their icing buckets. So you can ask them, you know, do you have any buckets left over? And it's already food grade, so it's safe, right? And so I would ask them for the buckets with the tops, with the lids. And sometimes you have to pay like a small fee, maybe like $2. I know at Costco it's like $2 per bucket. And so I store my flour, I store sugar, I store rice in those buckets, and I always place a basil leaf. Because again, if there are any eggs, if there are any insects in the packaging, I was told in our research that basil leaves will kill any of those pests if they are in your packaging. Because I don't know if you know, but supposedly the FDA is only supposed to be a certain percentage of bug body parts that are supposed to be in your food that won't harm you. So it's there, we just don't know it's there. But just in case, I have a second line of defense with my basil leaves. And of course, last but not least, we talked about my raised bed gardens. We talked about the kennel where I'm going to place more fruits and vegetables, including my strawberries, which I showed you here in these cups. And as you see, they are growing. Like, it's still some soil from outside still surrounding it, but I place soil, you know, more soil in the cups, some fresh soil. And I'm very surprised because guess what? Here in zone 8B, we had a very, very harsh frost not too long ago. Like, it was ice everywhere. And y'all, when a few weeks ago when I walked outside to check on my strawberry plants, 'cause I was like, wait a minute, I had strawberry plants out there. I did not cover it with hay or anything. It was just dead leaves from the trees, old straw from trees. And these plants were still alive. I mean, still green, and the roots were still good. So I dug them up. There was still soil surrounding the roots. I just put them in a cup, place a little bit more soil around it, and just wet it a little bit, not too wet so that the roots would touch the cup and, you know, rot out. I don't want that to happen. So I'm very excited that they are still growing. And so hopefully I will have a very successful growing season this year. I wish the same for you all. Now there are 2 strawberry plants, 3, because I'm looking at them right now. They did not look too good. They look dead. So I took some peroxide and water and I placed the bare roots in that solution for a little bit. And then I put it in some fresh soil. Hopefully that will work. Hopefully it will revive the plant, like shock it, and it'll come to life. But one of the plants, it had like mold on it. So I don't know if that's gonna live or what's gonna happen with that. But I did separate it from these healthy plants here because I don't want anything to happen to these because I know that these are good. I've shared with you raised beds, the kennel or cage where I'm going to place my strawberries. I've shared with you the herbs, just a few of the herbs that I'm gonna grow. And I already mapped out the raised beds that I want to put up because I love square foot gardening because it gives you, you know, a higher yield of harvest, a huge amount of food in a small space. So I think when I found that out, I immediately ordered the book. I had a friend girl who loves to garden, so she recommended the book to me, and so I read the book and I was like, wow, I didn't know that these plants can grow here. So that's when I learned about companion planting as well. And so with my square foot garden, it's just a 4x4. So that's 16 squares. So in each square, I can put something in there. And but for 4 squares straight, I put carrots because my children love carrots and we eat them like, you know, like candy around here. So I'm excited. Like, y'all, I'm really excited because I'm gonna walk past and I'm gonna be like in the store and I'm gonna look at the produce and I'm like, I don't have to buy what you have to offer because mine is growing in the garden. And even when I grew squash, when I walked into the store, like my squash plants were bigger. And I even noticed because one of my friend girls gave me one of her squash plants, you know, to just add to my garden. And when I noticed my squash that were grown from seeds compared to what she bought from a box store, my plant that grew from a seed, the leaves were much bigger. Like it looked much healthier, even though her plant looked healthier, but there was just a different look. It was just a different look. But I am very grateful. None of my squash survived. They did not survive because those squash bugs came and they got into the middle of my plant. When I tell you, like the root, the branch of it, they got in the middle and they ate my plant from the inside out. Like my leaves were so pretty, and all of a sudden they looking sad. I'm like, why are you looking sad? I'm out here every day. I'm talking to you. I'm being your best friend. I'm asking you if you're having any problems. I'm feeding you. I'm nurturing you. What's going on? And it just started to droop. And then all of a sudden, like the stem, that's what I'm saying, the stem was looking like something shredded it, like something took a claw. And I was like, what is going on? And it was like yellow in it, and it had a smell. And I was like, what is this? One of those squash bugs, and it ate my plants. And my plants were big and beautiful. And y'all, I was so sad. Oh, I was so sad, because I already had in my mind what meals I was gonna eat with my squash. And so all those squash plants, even the ones that were given to me, gone. Just like that. So hopefully that won't happen this year. In the new sunny place that I didn't show you all that part, but I'm going to show you later. I plan to grow more corn. One year I grew corn and my corn was looking snaggletooth. It looked like it took sick. Like, what's wrong with my corn? Why is like 3 corners on here? Three kernels. Why? Like, what's going on? It looked like a snaggletooth old man. And after people laughed at me in my Facebook group that I was in at the time, I don't have Facebook anymore. They told me that I should have planted my corn closer together so that it can fertilize. So I was laughed at. It was all in good fun, but I learned something that day. Don't ever plant it by itself. At least 2 kernels together for each plant. So that's it, y'all. I'm finished. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. Happy planting to you all, and see you next time. Bye.